Ladies and gentlemen, the Josh McDaniels era for the Raiders has been an unmitigated disaster. We've seen some embarrassing losses over the years, but these last 2 years have been completely humiliating. The worst part is that Josh McDaniels does not seem to care, whether it's such as life,
that's such is life in that regard.
Or the zinger today, football is a mysterious game sometimes.
Football's a mysterious game sometimes.
Josh McDaniels has completely lost touch with reality. And what he told us today on Monday says a lot about his job status. One thing is for sure is that Raider Nation desperately wants a new head coach. They don't want this fortune cookie style of wisdom. Yes, I miss John Gruden. Make sure to like and subscribe for more Raiders content. The Raiders squashed the Davante Adams trade rumors. He was asked about how they'll turn this offense around, and he said something really interesting here.
I'm always, as long as I'm here, I'm gonna have confidence and do what I got to do my part to make sure that I'm helping, the guys around me, and we're gonna work together to try to figure it out.
As long as I'm here, that's what everybody took note of. As long as I'm here. I'm sorry, are you thinking of a scenario in which you're not here? And if I was Davante Adams, to be completely real, I'd be trying to get the hell out of here as quickly as possible. And the reason why I would try to dip is because of the head coach. It's not talent, it's not quarterback, even though McDaniels wants you to believe that. Just listen to Davante Adams right here.
We just got to mix it up a little better. I just think it's just about just keeping the defense honest and making it a little easier on the quarterback. And we got to do it as wide outs. We got to get the run game going, and all these things that we've been struggling with all year is making it tougher on the quarterback. So if we can run it a little better, then I think that would help.
On one level, you can say he's criticizing the lack of run game, but the key thing he says is that we have to mix it up better and make it easier on the quarterback. So he's not entirely blaming the quarterback here, mixing it up. Who decides what we mix up? Who decides what plays the Raiders call? It is Josh McDaniels as the offensive genius and the play caller. And we've seen Davante Adams criticize the execution, but he has criticized over the past 2 years some of the decision making by the offense, mainly the coaching staff. And I would be upset too if I was Davante Adams, man. He had 7 targets in the first quarter, but Davante Adams did not see another pass coming his way until there was 3:22 remaining in the third quarter. They completely went away from this guy, and this is something that we've seen Josh McDaniels do. Davante Adams has taken note of it. Something is working, and then they decide to go away from it. We could blame Brian Hoyer. Yes, he was horrible on tons of pass attempts, but I'm looking at this passing chart here. Who's deciding where his first read is? Who's deciding where he throws the football? It was out routes to the left side of the field, whether it be Jacoby Myers, out route, or Davante Adams, out route. That's all the Raiders were doing. Yes, Brian Hoyer was not an accurate quarterback, not a talented quarterback, but I'm looking at this passing chart here and I'm thinking, damn, how is McDaniels helping his quarterback? He's not, and why is he not mixing it up? There is no accountability for Josh McDaniels. He always just says, we got to do better, and he says pretty much nothing at the press conference when he's asked, what is the problem? What is the problem over these past 2 years? You can no longer blame it all on Derek Carr, quarterback. This is year 2 with your guys. And The Athletic, Vic Tafur, calling this out, showing this hilarious picture of Josh McDaniels, the fact that he has no answers. The reason why Josh McDaniels has a lot to answer for is because the guy is highly paid, man. He's one of the top 10 highest paid coaches in the NFL, tied with Kyle Shanahan of the San Francisco 49ers, paid more than Mike Vrabel of the Tennessee Titans here, and he's close to Harbaugh and Andy Reid. Harbaugh and Andy Reid are $12 million a year. McGenius, this guy is making just $2 million more a year than Andy freaking Reid. Good one, Mark Davis. Smarten up. And the Raiders smartened up on social media today on Facebook Live during the press conference. They didn't want to hear from you, Raider Nation. They couldn't handle the smoke that was going on in the chat. And so the Raiders literally disabled the live chat on Facebook. People noticed it. People talked about it. And that's just sad, man. After you kicked out fans last year, now you can't even handle the criticism through social media. This brings us to Josh McDaniels' presser today. Not only did he say that he's not going to second guess starting Brian Hoyer over Aiden O'Connell, but he had a bunch of blunders in this press conference. Bangers like there's a fine line between not doing doing good enough and really doing well.
There's a fine line between not doing good enough and really doing well.
And listen to how this guy says we need better execution compared to the old guy.
We got to have more execution on a consistent basis.
I want better execution. Are we clear on that? I want better f***ing execution.
Another banger from McDaniels. At the end of the day, we need to put together a performance that represents what we think we can be.
At the end of the day, we need to put together a performance that's representative of what we think we can be.
What we think we can be. We need to represent what we think we can be. And then another one from Mr. Miyagi McDaniels here. You are what you do.
Again, you are what you do. And so we didn't.
So the Raiders are what we do. And last but not least, like we mentioned earlier, football is a mysterious game sometimes.
Football's a mysterious game sometimes, and
wow, football is a mysterious game, even for a man who supposedly helped Tom Brady get Super Bowl rings, even for a man who's been a head coach not once, but twice. If this game is so mysterious to you, Josh McDaniels, then maybe you shouldn't be a part of it. And remember in my video last night, we covered how Josh McDaniels said it's not preseason anymore, and that's why he started Brian Hoyer over the rookie quarterback Aiden O'Connell. And now we got this little health update from Jimmy Garoppolo. Not entirely sure he's going to be back for this Monday Night Football game against the Detroit Lions. At this point, if Jimmy G's not ready to go, Josh McDaniels pretty much has to start Brian Hoyer again because he already dissed Aiden O'Connell last week, saying it's not preseason anymore. So will Josh McDaniels be fired? Who will be the interim head coach? You got Raider Post talking about how it could be Rob Ryan, a senior defensive assistant. It could also maybe be Patrick Graham, defensive coordinator. That guy was interviewed to be a head coach before settling and becoming the Raiders defensive coordinator. However, because Dave Ziegler and Josh McDaniels are a package deal, if the Raiders pulled the plug on these guys mid-season, I think you would also see assistant general manager Champ Kelly. He would step in and have to take over for Dave Ziegler because for some reason, Mark Davis thought this failed actor would be a good general manager. Raiders Twitter is laying into Josh McDaniels, and I feel like they're all finally united against these guys. A lot of people were holding on hope that McDaniels would be a lead and we'd all be kissing his ass and Jimmy G's just a winner. It's all gonna work out and Derek Carr's the problem. Turns out all of that was a complete load of shit and Josh McDaniels is incompetent. You got Sashi talking about what's happening right now, saying, has Josh McDaniels started to make you feel like you like the Raiders less? And you got 65% saying that they're becoming numb, and a lot of people feel the same. Some people, I don't know how drunk you have to be to think this, like the Raiders even more. Josh Dubois, the biggest Derek Carr hater, is still chiming in on the Raiders situation right now, wanting people to vote on what's the most embarrassing loss for Josh McDaniels. Turns out it's the Colts loss from high school coach Jeff Saturday last year. Baker Mayfield with no practice with the LA Rams. That was pretty embarrassing last year. And then a lot of people are feeling the Tyson Bagent Division II loss as the second worst start. And Josh Dubois has ripped into Derek Carr so much that Derek Carr had to even hug him one time after a press conference. But even Josh Dubois is saying that Derek Carr has been a more successful quarterback in the NFL than Josh McDaniels has been a head coach. So hey, he's sticking with the facts. Even though he's critical of Derek Carr, in his view, Josh McDaniels is way worse. And think about this, Derek Carr is not doing well with the New Orleans Saints right now. I will admit that. I still think they could turn it around. However, I don't think Josh McDaniels and the Raiders can turn it around at this point. And it's because I think Josh McDaniels is the problem. I never saw Carr be that bad with any other coach besides Josh McDaniels. And even this year with Jimmy G, I haven't seen Jimmy G be this bad besides with Josh McDaniels. Definitely compared to Kyle Shanahan, way worse with McDaniels. And you got Brian Hoyer here at the very bottom, 37.1 passer rating versus the Bears. These are the worst passer ratings for a Raiders starting quarterback in the last 15 seasons, and two of them out of the last 15 seasons are under McDaniels. You got Brian Hoyer at the bottom and Derek Carr against the Baker Mayfield and the Rams shit show last year on Thursday Night Football. So McDaniels has given two quarterbacks the worst QB ratings in Raiders history of the past 15 years. I wonder who the problem is. Always remember, Mark Davis last year said that Josh McDaniels is doing a fantastic job, and that was after losing to Jeff Saturday, the high school football coach. Well, Dubois was also pointing out that the Raiders were held under 250 yards for the fourth time in 24 games under the fantastic Josh McDaniels, and it happened 3 times in the last 55 games before McDaniels took over. So this is clearly an unprecedented, unique McDaniels problem. At a certain point, Mark Davis needs to sack up just like his dad, Al Davis, and pull out the projector, go up there in front of everybody and say, hey, I made a freaking mistake and now we're done with this guy.
Sometimes things just don't work out. It was after a short period of time that I realized I didn't hire the person I thought I was hiring.
Yeah, you didn't hire who you thought you did, Mark. Just freaking admit it.
Just couldn't go on much longer with the propaganda, the lying.
Even though the Detroit Lions got their ass completely whooped by Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens, they are still the favorites in this game against the Raiders, of course. But they're like a freaking huge favorite against the Raiders. That's what's even more insane. Everybody can see it. Everybody knows this team's a disaster. Lions are 7.5-point favorites against the Raiders. And honestly, I might just make my bet right now, freaking choosing the Lions against the spread, because I have absolutely no hope the Raiders are going to win this game on Monday Night Football. 0. We will see if Mark Davis listens to Raider Nation. A petition has resurfaced online from change.org. Get Josh McDaniels fired. It ended up trending on Twitter. Fire Josh McDaniels was trending on Twitter, but also get Josh McDaniels was trending on Twitter. Raider Nation's trying to get this guy, but 14,577 signatures at the very top. You can check it out. Almost at the goal of 15,000. So check out this petition by Chad Wilk. We'll see if Mark Davis listens to Raider Nation. Right now, I don't have faith in Mark Davis. I don't think he's going to do it. And these clips at the press conference where Josh McDaniels tries to act like the Raiders were 3 or 4 plays away from beating the Chicago Bears.
You know, I mean, the football game can be changed by the execution of 4 or 5 different plays. Pick any 4 or 5 different plays and you say, man, if we would have made this, if we would have made that. But just we got to have more execution on a consistent basis against, you know, good teams.
That is absolutely ridiculous. That is false. That is false that the Raiders have been in every game and it's been just a few plays away. They luckily crawled back into the Steelers game. They got their ass whooped by the Bears. It was more than 4 plays away. It was about freaking 40 plays away. And the Bills completely demolished them too. Did Josh McDaniels already forget about that? So I think the guy is a little too cozy. He's trying to blame the players, blame execution, act like they're close, act like it's no big deal. And the reason why the guy is so cozy and the reason why the guy doesn't have to act with any form of urgency is because he knows he's good to go, still going to get paid by Mark Davis, and Mark Davis is too big of a coward and maybe too cheap to pull the trigger on Josh McDaniels and get rid of the guy. Let me know your thoughts on all this in the comments below. My name is Wi-Fi Willie. Peace out, and I hope you have a good one.